this is Brooke Nichols, and I am back here with another video from Nature's Premiere. Thank you so much for tuning in to another video. So today marks the first video of our new series on interviewing or reviewing books for children that have a strong meaning and takeaway behind them. So we're going to be talking about books that talk about pollution, we're going to be reviewing books that talk about conservation, human rights, animal rights, and really everything in between. Books that are beautifully illustrated, books that have a wonderful message behind them. So definitely stay tuned. I'm going to be doing my best to upload weekly for this little series in tandem with the other videos that we're going to be having on this channel. So the first book up is going to be the Jaguar story, written by Kosha Ely and illustrated by Raji Gendron. I highly recommend this book. I actually had the pleasure of interviewing Kosha Ely on our podcast, the Nature's Premiere podcast. So definitely check it out. It was a wonderful deep dive interview into her work, into her story, and the mission behind this book. So highly recommend checking it out. Again, it is on iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, and Google Play. Again, it is the interview with Kosha Ely of the Jaguar story on the Nature's Premiere podcast. Kosha is a mother, an entrepreneur, and an author of books such as The Jaguar Story, The Prince and the Pollster, and also The Peaceable Forest, which we are going to feature on a future episode because it is one of my favorite children's books to date. Kosha has been enchanted by tales of the Amazon rainforest and captivated by natives and wildlife that inhabit it. As an adult, she traveled to rainforests in over 6 countries, and for 14 years, she worked with indigenous people, bringing their handmade botanicals to market in North America and Europe. Raji is an artist and a mother who grew up in France in the countryside and is currently residing with her family in Amsterdam. She started painting and drawing when she was 4 years old, and as you can see, clearly illustrated in the Jaguar story, she has a true passion and a talent for it. This book is absolutely beautiful. Both Raji and Kosha are animal lovers and environmentalists. They believe they can make a positive difference in people's lives by bringing awesome art and children's books together. The Jaguar story is a children's book that talks about 2 jaguar cubs, Inca and Chaska, and their mother, and their journey from leaving their current home, traveling across the Amazon after it was inhabited by humans. So it talks about the different issues that plague the Amazon, and the way it does it is very ginger. It's not anything that's scary. It doesn't come off crazy upsetting, even though the real matter of the fact is super upsetting. But for a child, they take it in and they can understand it and process it better. There's no crazy graphic pictures. It is a beautifully illustrated, beautiful story. Now I'm going to show you some pictures. I don't want to show you all of them because this is just beautiful and I highly recommend you putting this on your shelf. But I will say I had the opportunity to donate to their Indiegogo account when they were getting this book for print to sell in the marketplace. And I did receive a couple different things along with some of the very generous prints that Kosha had given me as well. And they are beautiful and they're going to be actually hanging in my backdrop of future videos. They are beautiful pictures that were from the actual book. So I'm pretty sure you can still donate to the campaign. I know that it was expired, but I'm sure there's ways that you can still get those prints, but they are so beautiful and it really gave me a snapshot of the entire vibe of this book. So it was the book, it was the prints, there's an activity book, there's postcards, and there's also a beautiful audiobook as well if you're more into listening to books on the car ride. My kids actually like the audiobook as well, so I really recommend any way to consume this information because it's all beautiful, but the book is actually my favorite. So again, Inca and Chaska, it is just a very playful book. You have absolutely stunning illustrations throughout, and it just shows how like their habitat was being infiltrated by humans. See, like I love this. This is like one of my favorite pictures. I don't know why. It just reminds me of like my little human cubs, right? Like my kids are so playful, and it just shows the mom like, okay, you know, like, you know, you guys are on my head, you know, this is life, right? But and this, you know, like aside from just the absolute beauty, there is devastation as well. You see, you know, you get the vibe of what's happening, right? You see the helicopter, you see the monkeys, all the native animals, they see the trucks coming in, you know, and it's just really about these people. Ugh, I hate this one, but it has to be shown. the gun to the Jaguar's head with him threatening them, and then they run off. But one of my favorite pictures that my children loved, and I thought it was a very powerful picture, and I'm not sure why, it was so wonder, and it summed up this book so beautifully. It's probably one of my favorite pictures. Again, I have no idea why, but it just captivates the whole essence of this book. It's just magical, it's just full of wonder, it's full of mystery. As they talk about in this book, jaguars would normally travel like unnoticed. They are camouflage, they blend into everything, and they're very stealth. And this picture, I love this picture. It just kind of shows you the mystery of the jaguar, and it just really captivates like the soul and the aura of what they are. And there's just a lot of like beautiful pictures in this book, and I highly recommend, you know, reading this to a child. My kids love this book. I have to read this book probably 3 times a week. They pull for this book. The Peaceable Forest, I will say, that was a very powerful book. It actually made me teary-eyed, and I really enjoyed it a lot. They don't pull for that one as much as they pull for this one, but that one's beautiful as well, and I definitely recommend that. That was a very strong message in that book, and it's definitely a must read. But one of my favorite parts of this book is that in the back there is a whole, sorry, I'm looking at my monitor, there is a whole section on, you know, facts about jaguars. And I thought that was so cool because my kids got to learn about, you know, baby jaguars, about jaguars that are fully grown, you know, giving you did you know little snippets of the book. Also, another favorite part of this book was the Amazon rainforest, a flora and fauna fact little snippets, right? Like of the animals that live there. So you have a snapshot of some of the animals that live in the Amazon rainforest. And it's actually a few pages long, which I was surprised about. It's just a lot of really good content, you guys. Like, and if nothing else, you could turn to the back of this book and still learn something. If you don't want to read the story, well, you can learn about the wattle jacanas. I don't know if I said that right. Or the green anacondas, you know what I mean? Like, it's just really, really cool. And I love that they put the trees and flowers in here as well, because what a lot of people don't realize is that you have some extremely rare trees and flowers and animals, of course, that live in the Amazon rainforest that are threatened every single day. I mean, there's species of animals and, you know, botanicals that we'll never be able to categorize because they'll probably go extinct before we even know of their existence. There's so much magic and mystery in the Amazon rainforest. You have indigenous people that have been living there for a very, very long time that are absolutely devastated about their homes being destroyed. And we can all make a difference. And I think one of the biggest steps is share, especially if you have kids. This is a big step if you have kids, is talking to your kids about what's happening in different parts of the world. I think those of us who live on, you know, in the West Coast, or not in the West Coast, but in the States, either the West Coast or the East Coast, wherever you live, I happen to live in the East Coast, we all live in some kind of like bubble. Like, we're not really affected by like major issues. I mean, we all have a lot of major issues in our lives. There's things for us to handle, but can you imagine growing up in a jungle and, you know, living off of this jungle, living off the animals and off of the beauty of the botanicals, and then one day you have this gigantic construction vehicle that is just destroying, cutting right into the middle of your home. Like, can you even just imagine that? It's hard to imagine. And when we talk to our kids about these devastations that are occurring in different parts of the world, you know, it really does make them think. Now, I am someone that does follow many different activists on social media platforms, and I know that there's different approaches to different situations, or, you know, how can I put this? different approaches to different topics, and, you know, I'm losing the words, but I definitely believe that when you're talking to children, it's very important to be ginger about issues. And I think the Jaguar story brings up very important issues without scaring the child, with actually doing the complete opposite and making them intrigued by the beauty of the illustrations, by the gingerness of the actual words that are used in this story. And it's just very much of like a melody across the entire book. So if you're someone that is interested in teaching your children about conservation, whatever age they are, this is a book that I definitely recommend you putting on your shelf. I have 3 daughters, and I want them to see the Amazon rainforest one day. I would love to see the Amazon rainforest one day, but I want them to know they are alive during a time when the Amazon rainforest is still alive, because honestly, what do you give it, another 20 years? Is that being, some scientists say 100 years, but I think that's being extremely liberal. Like, I don't believe that the Amazon has 100 years. I think maybe 25 years, 25 to 30 years, 35 years, pushing it. I mean, really, like, it's under extreme threat. So what we can do is teach our children at a young age about the Amazon rainforest, about all the devastations that are occurring, about the different practices, and maybe as they get older, they can really make a difference. But it starts with giving them the tools and the foundations and reading books to them like the Jaguar story to really get the ball in motion. Now, I also recommend this book to anyone of any age. I'm really focusing on children because Nature's Premier, you know, we deal a lot with children, but you can read books at any age. No one's gonna tell me that I can't read The Peaceful Forest 10 times. Like, I'm gonna read that book 10 times if I wanna read that book. I'm gonna read the Jaguar story if I wanna read the book. If my kids don't wanna read the book that night, okay, I'm gonna read it. You know what I mean? Like, it's not just about kids, it's not just about, you know, being older and, oh, you can't read these type of books. If you've never known of the devastation that occurs in the Amazon rainforest, if you've always wanted to learn something, you are never too old to learn it. You know, just do whatever you want, grab whatever book you want and pick up and read it. And I definitely recommend checking this one out if you are looking into, you know, more ways to learn about conservation and the efforts that are being done to preserve our beauty of the Amazon rainforest and different parts of the world. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this video. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much, you guys, for tuning into this video. Do make sure to subscribe to this channel so you do not miss any upcoming videos. I do apologize that it's been a little bit of time since my last video, but as a mother of 3 young children, as a welder, and someone who runs 2 other businesses, sometimes my time gets a little sidetracked, but I am going to be focusing on making a lot more content for this channel, as I really do believe in what we talk about here, and I hope you guys are enjoying the content that we have so far. So thank you all so much for tuning in, and again, before I forget, do check out the website for the Jaguar story at thejaguarstory.org. I just want to pay proper homage to this book. It is awesome, and it is the first recommended conservation book on our list for this series. Thank you guys so much, and until the next video, I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care, guys.